Hey everybody, welcome back to God Inc. Today we're going to talk about a week one after the new set came out. It's also the same week that I think it's the Toronto Challenge, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be this weekend. So good luck to all the people who's going to play in that tournament this weekend. Best of luck, you guys. It's super fun to go to these challenges, and especially with the one-of-a-kind Mickey card that just got announced at D23. So we're excited to see what world champions look like. But just as normal, you got Doctor and Cloudy on the mic. But yeah, we're gonna talk first. We're gonna talk about like what happened, how we feel about things in general. See if our feelings are generally the same. We're not getting into cards specifically. The only cards we're gonna get into is the what we play tested so far, and we've had like limited time to play test over the last week, but. We actually got some pretty good results to kind of report here. We want to get some more exposure on this and get more brains working at it if possible. So without further ado, let's get into it. It's, again, like I said, week one. Not a lot of people have played it because we do have this challenge coming up. So as soon as Sunday's over, or even Sunday, we might see some more play. I mean, because we're going to be playing in in the side events, or it's going to be playing like ad hoc in the hotel, things like that. So we're probably going to see some stuff after this weekend, but it's going to be the last weekend we see the discard variant deck.
Yeah, seeming like
I've seen a couple Emerald Steel builds for this new set. It's not what it used to be. But there's a couple of them. I have Dreamboard open as well, just so we can kind of go through some of the color combinations as we talk about it. But this is a Miller.
Nah.
I
said Your Welcome was good.
I can see, especially with We Don't Talk and Your Welcome, which
I
actually underestimated.
I tried to pull the wool away from your eyes, man. I tried.
I said I didn't realize. No one said anything about you. Calm down, Jamal.
We don't gotta look at this color combination. We know it doesn't matter what set. This deck will be there. Go ahead and go to another.
Okay.
Come on. Same thing. Oh, I don't have any item removal. What am I going to do? The deck is going to suck. But there's time.
Yeah,
but there's first shot.
I was like, wow, shut up, I'm not scared anymore. I was really scared going into it. And it's
this is what you were saying. You were shaking in your boots about these items. You're shaking in your boots.
Personal Mirror is actually underwhelming. We'll get into that in another video. Actually, no, we'll probably get to it when we get to the deck tech part of it. But yeah, week one. I did a pre-con. I did a couple local events. I did a pre-con tournament, pre-con plus 2 packs, and then and then we just played each other. No color requirements. You can use all the colors that you get from those 2 packs, or I guess you have 3 packs that your pre-con comes with a pack. In those 3 packs, I got 2 legendaries. I got one of my last Clarabelles. It was like my 3rd one at the time, and then Jafar. So that was pretty good for that, and I did do pretty well in that one. I got I lost my first round, but I won my other 2 rounds. So it was a nice 3-round event. Got my few packs, got 2 more legendaries. So the pulls on this set have been really good as far as legendary pulls. I've been really lucky about getting a few packs, like a couple here or there, and just kind of getting these legendaries. Like when I got my Trove, I got 2 legendaries out of that. I got a double legendary for pack out of our first box. Out of our second box, we had a similar-ish experience. And then we had to get a 3rd one. Actually, no, we already had a 3rd one. We had to get a 4th one. So we ended up working 4 boxes, a case worth of packs over the whole weekend. And it pretty much kind of filled out our whole collection. So now at this point, we just are missing. We got 0 Lianas, unfortunately. We got 1 Mufasa.
Clarabelle.
But we got 2 Merlins. We got a full set of Camillos. We got a full set of what's her name? Clarabelle. We almost have a full set of Jafar, unfortunately, but it's.
Oh yeah, day one.
The pulls have been pretty nice as far as that
now
is concerned.
She's 31.
So prices are going to be pretty normal right now. Some cards have already starting to go up. Like Clarabelle was $6 day of, and then next day tripled, and then
we
doubled after that. So it was just I was like, dang, I should just bought the $6 one. Even though I knew I was gonna have these pulls, I was just kind of saving the money so I could just pull it. But we got one. Actually, we got 5 Clarabelles at the end of it. But yeah, we have one that is foil, thankfully. And yeah, so that's our pulls. So I mean, that's all I did. Claudia did not participate in that tournament. He was working, unfortunately. But we did have an opportunity to do it on Monday. When we actually got together and opened up all the boxes. And also let us know if you guys want to see that kind of content. We're trying to figure out a good way to record it right now, but just let us know if you'd just be interested in just like looking at polls with us. Who knows? We're probably gonna do maybe like a giveaway or something like that if we do that. But yeah, we actually stayed in and did playtesting. So we did I want to say like 9 games is what it ended up being. But I landed on going back to my roots, which is the first deck I played when I played this game, which is a Ruby Emerald deck. I've been trying to make this work since set 2. I've been trying to make this work because set 2 or set 1, you had the stock one, the Aladdin one, which is why I like this color combination is because of the Aladdin deck. And ever since then, I've been trying to regain that. But Cloudy has since ruined me. Because he's
who knew literally day 0 we said, wow, this Madam Mim card seems really strong. I wonder if this is really good in the actual game when you get to build your deck.
Dumpstering me, and so I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
You found it out day 1. So.
Yep. And it just got worse from there. Thankfully, I took over the Amethyst cards and played a strong Amethyst Ruby. I played it all the way to actually last set. I played at the challenge too, and I had a build kind of early on that was already good against the discard variant. I went 50-50, so I knew that going into it. Thankfully, and then pretty much my build came out after that for the masses. There's a couple things I still disagree with that one, but. But yeah, anyway, back to this. We're back to what I want to play, which is this kind of control aggro-ish build here. I kind of want to do this lore drain eventually, so I might do a video of me playing this because I do like this whole lore removal aspect of it. But right now, my deck is under my decks. This is my current build, more or less. I maybe have a couple of things that are ratioed weird. But pretty much this is my deck. I know for a fact that I only have 3 in 3 of this one. So this there might be an extra card that has. So I think I might have 4 of of this 8-drop or something like that. But more or less this is what I played. And this one Cloudy play tested on that following Monday. Played it for a few hours, so we're trying to so I had a build before this that was completely trash, and I don't even think I have the copy of that. And maybe it was this. No, it wasn't even this. Cause I didn't want to even take a chance. But it had John's mirror in it.
This guy loves Morph. Morph ain't good, man. It ain't good. I'm gonna be honest. Hot take. Morph ain't good.
Morph.
He's funny.
I had more shifts in it.
In theory, he'd be good.
I do love Morph.
Maybe, but those spots in the Bucky deck was so slammed.
I think
the new Bucky
works well.
Sure, but no one's running new Bucky. No one's running new Bucky. That card's, give me Prince Donomir.
Well, I mean,
I'd rather run that than run new Bucky.
In the new Bucky is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about old Bucky. Because you can turn 2 Morph, turn 3 Bucky now, and then slam something after that. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, this is where I landed on. And after I found this, this was pretty much someone else's build, and I made a couple light alterations. But I pretty much stayed with the sword material. I wish I could find the link. Maybe I can dig through my old history. But once I started playing this, it felt a lot more smooth. It felt a lot more consistent. I felt like I was always in the game the whole entire game. And that was just in playtesting. And then I also played the next day I played in a local quite a bit up the road from where I live, and I end up actually winning that whole local with this deck. So yeah, I 3-0'd as far as rounds are concerned. That whole event. Some of the decks were a little bit not good. But like first round I played against Ruby Amethyst. Second round I played against this like blue steel thing. It was not optimized very well. It lost every single time. It had 30 uninkables. And then the third round I played against Ruby Sapphire. So like a couple of two meta decks, and then the other one was kind of like a troll. But I have fun. I always had I kind of perplexed my opponent. They weren't expecting this combination to go. They were like, I had this Flint in here, and it like what the last opponent said was it felt like he was playing a different deck. Like it felt like I like sideboarded in between matches, and that's why I kind of like it. It's a bit of a wild card type of deck. So I want to see how it fares tomorrow, which is a week from that tournament thing. So
I do have some thoughts.
I'm gonna try to go back now that people have had more time and refined it to see how my deck
going
does
against
work.
this deck. You'll see what deck.
But yeah, you're probably gonna see this on camera.
Time is spoiler alert, it was a blue purple.
You got some thoughts. Tell me.
I feel like this deck did really well against that specific color combination because I lacked a lot of the removal options early to deal with the problematic cards early that this deck likes to have, like the Diablo, like the Flynn Riders, and the Cursed Merfolk. These things, if I have to, punch the Cursed Merfolk or Flynn Rider, it slows me down, discarding cards out of my hand. And then the only removal I had was, put into the Inkwell removal, which inadvertently helps his deck because it gets him to the later inks so he can use the big Ruby control package faster. And then that allows him to snuff me out even faster. So it's like, do I sit here and lose resources to trade, or do I give him resources to not have to trade and he wins later on? Now, through specific draws and specific strategies my deck happened to have, I was able to have a build that was evened out the matchup a little bit better. But for the most part, Sapphire players, if you do not have another color that you're reliant on the removal package of, this deck will definitely do very well into it. Because if you have to sit there and inkwell a lot of these pieces, it's just like I said, it inadvertently helps the player get to those later inks and snuff you out faster. Because this deck does have much needed card draw that it never had before. With the Diablo, well, I guess Diablo helped, but with this Clarabelle, obviously, it changes the entire game. And yeah, you're right, Clarabelle's, the comeback Clarabelle and the 7-drop Clarabelle. And then having access to, in a pinch, you're welcome, I don't know, like a 1-drop Diablo, just to draw 2 cards to get into another play. It actually does matter. Or beyond it, you're removing your opponent's stuff as well. And of course, things like Be Prepared, Madame Medusa is really, really good in the meta right now. Maui's always been good. Sisu still has value. These things really do help. The Flynn Rider with the early Sisu drop and Bolden Warrior drop can stop a lot of Sapphire players to force them to make that decision of like, hey, are you going to use Let It Go? What are you going to do here? Like, because if you exert anything, it just dies. And it helps just make your opponent feel like, okay, I guess I have to discard cards on my hand. And this deck has a more than average better top deck than most because of the Ruby package. So if you're playing like I said, a Blurple where your top deck is more personalized and then the opponent's top deck is more stopping your opponent, I may, get a chance to play the spoiler alert, I run Camillio. I play Camillio, but if my opponent plays Madame Medusa in response, I kind of just end up losing that game on average, where it's just like, okay, I really can't do anything. So that's very, very strong about this deck. Having access to songs as well. So if Maui can't hit, he can still sing Bruno. That's really, really good. And, He also can sing "You're Welcome" if need be as well. So these things help the deck. Yeah, in a pinch, in a hot pinch, it matters.
You're welcome.
You haven't do it yet, but
Yeah.
in a hot pinch where it's like, okay, I lose on board no matter what I do.
And Claire can also sing
is not
Prepared on 5, which I haven't had to do yet. On the regular set, yeah. Yeah. So you kind of just like do what you can. I will say that there was a the other 3-drop CC build that I had, but I ended up realizing that I didn't need her. Also, that the deck I was copying didn't have it, and I understand why. It's gotta be out.
I think You're Welcome is the best dime removal in the game.
And then again,
I honestly think it is.
Saying,
you can argue that Cusco
possible removal options
and the
as well.
blue action that's really in blue that can also put an item into an inkwell, stuff like that. Those things are very, very good to get rid of dime. But you can argue that giving Sapphire Ink in certain places isn't what you want to do, just to get them like even more ahead of you. But there are worlds where it's like, they already have 15 ink, just inkwelling that dime is very, very good, instead of letting them draw 2 cards. But on average, if you're doing it on curve, like they got out that dime on 7s, like, man, I'll let you have it. If I know 1 dime is out of here for a long time, I'll let you have that. Because for Clark, he did this as well to me. He actually did that to me, I think, as well. So
also,
that's something that was
let him draw 2 cards can get you under the threshold, so you can draw up to them.
So it's some strategies here.
Yeah, like I expelled all my cards and then made him draw 2, and then I draw up to him using the base card. So it had some nuance. And you really had to be on the ball as far as like what you're gonna do turn over turn. But definitely getting an early Charisma Flag out instead of getting Diablo out, it's definitely great. Feels a lot better. But there was matches where it's like, okay, what am I fishing for? I usually ink this turn 1, things like that. And then like, depending on my matchup, I'll just drop like a Ursa Deceiver. I feel like it has more value. You get more value from it. Since it lets you discard a song if they have it. Idea would just let you look out, and that's about it. So yeah, that's enough on this. Let's go into Cloudy's deck, which is this.
So
we actually
basically, I was really on the fence about what I wanted to build.
A couple of the pieces in here, so I'm gonna let Cloudy cover it.
I looked at some of the cards that I really enjoyed,
and I'm just gonna interject.
And I enjoyed like the idea of them. And we came on going over to a Blurple build. Now, this Blurple build, I'm just theorizing some things early on about it. I already see that I don't have one of my other 1-drops in here. This is my mistake. I also run Chernenbalg's Followers. I thought I put that in here. But the numbers of this is a little up in the air. I had my ratios a little off. I was just trying to do this last second. But adding in a Chernenbalg's Followers into the 1-drops position, I basically... My original build, I had more of an item focused where I went for more Fishbone Quills. I had about, I think, 3 or 4, and then I also had the Popsicle in a Hiram package for the card draw engine. But after playtesting it for a bit, we realized that just having access to friends on the other side and, still having Merlin Rabbit and adding in some earlier 1-drop pieces to help with those early trades with a lot of characters that have lower strength and higher low to no strength and toughness cards, like Rafiki if he exerts type of thing, where it's like I don't have a thing to hit back, but I'm going to get value like a Curse Mofurk or something like that. Just having something to be able to beat that and not have it freely quest, and not having to always rely on using my equal removal like the Let It Goes to deal with the things is I feel like it was very valuable to have. Chernenbalg being able to either quest and draw or just quest and sit or do a trade does really matter. Magic Broom being able to get you that draw if you need it when you play your turn 2 or something like that. Very, very good. And it can take a hit if it's just a 1-hitter like a Daisy Duck or something like that. So it's good. Very, very good just to have for these 1-drop packets that may or may not give me draw if I need it. But oftentimes more than not, I will use it off of my turn 2. Turn 2, you pretty much always want to go for Tippo. 1-jump ahead is awesome. I put one jump ahead in because my original build had no 2-drops outside of Tipo, but I'm sorry, Tipo. Tipo, I was on the fence about him as well when he came out, but I think this build, he ultimately fits this deck, I think, better than a Mickey because you kind of just want to. I guess I'm not saying you want to always discard your hand and stuff like that, but it's like just using him in order to guarantee you knowing what is in your inkwell and knowing what plays you can still play with Merlin later does matter because there was times where I needed to know kind of what was in my deck still to search for things because I used Merlin's ability and I forgot that I inked both of my Hades, so I didn't have Hades for later removal, and that didn't matter. So being able to kind of know what you got is very, very good, as well as being able to turn 3 seeing one jump ahead, as well as bouncing this with Madam M Fox. That is something that you also need to account for. Being able to just bounce, get Madam M Fox out, deal with something always matters. I did have to cut Snake because the Snake at the time I didn't have 1-drop, so I didn't put Snake in my original build, but I don't think I have room for Snake in here. I'd rather keep the Tipo and I did not. Yeah, that Void. So yeah, he's been doing work.
No, this is fine. I was
being able to sing one jump ahead with it and then bounce it by Fox. I think that's enough to put that in over.
Having that early Tipo has been,
of course, you have Madam
chosen by a lot of people. So, yeah.
It's good.
But I definitely recommend you do. You definitely do run the one jump ahead with them because a lot of people.
You can get real. Hey man, we gonna get there. We gonna get there. Put her away. Put her away. We gonna get there.
Definitely,
we gonna get her. Trust me. I'm gonna turn on the music for her because let's look it up. So of course you get. The Madam M Fox. Obviously, that's one of the best cards in the game. Gotta always run it. And right behind it, Madam M Elephant at 3 of. Those 2 cards that M package is eating. Being able to bounce one of those 1-drops or 2-drops if you get to that point, because of course Tipo will have you on 4 ink. So if you have Elephant or Fox to bounce them, 10 out of 10 play. Obviously, if you need to hit, go for the Fox. If your opponent's not doing anything over there, getting that Elephant out, one of the most difficult things to deal with at 4 ink, in my opinion. It's such a big beater. You can't try to chip it down that easy. She does everything you need. And then, of course, it can sing how far I'll go as well, get you even farther ahead. Really, really good to set up your early game and stuff to get it going, get your engine going. Obviously, you want to run Merlin, Rabbits, and Goats, obviously, for their effects. Again, some of the best purple cards in the game. But they also will be shift targets for your Merlin that I do run in this deck. Now we get to talk about arguably the best card in the deck. Probably the best card in the deck. It's the best card in the deck. Elsa the Fifth Spirit. This card right here.
The toast. The Fifth Spirit. God dang, man. Sidebar, when I played against this in the pre-con tournament, it hit every time. I'm like,
this card right here,
really annoying.
First of all, Inkable. Who said this card should be Inkable? They were tripping. Inkable 2/5. Rush.
Disgusting.
This could have been a legendary. Let's be real. Rush, evasive, and you get to exert a character when you play it. 10 out of 10.
This rarity.
Quest for 2. Yeah, if they did Quest for 2, it would have been broken. But it's still really, really good with the stat line, regardless. Because being able to exert just a character and having whatever you previously had on the board, so like a Madam and Fox, could now hit something else, take him out, and you have the access of hitting something else that was maybe exerted when they thought it was a good exert, like a Diablo. Like, I want to draw a card. No problem. I exert your other character, and then your Diablo is already exerted, and I get the character that can trade into him and still have 3 life, still evasive, gets to sit pretty. She's good. And then the fact that, like I said, your Foxes who you developed a turn before can just get to freely do whatever they need to do as well on another character, or they just get the quest or do whatever they want. It's good. It's very, very good. And bouncing her, Elsa with the Madam M's, also a very good play. She has Rush, and her ability can just come out and do it again. And it always matters pretty much when she plays it. And of course, Camellia. We talk about Camellia. We talk about the sauce. We talk about the sauce, man. Just chill. Just chill. Just chill. Just chill. Just chill, baby. Just chill. All right, so I guess we got to move to him anyway. So Camellia.
That's like the whole thing in the deck. The whole thing in the deck is to get
this card. I thought it was good at first, but that's the purpose. So see this card. I'll give a quick idea of why I thought this card was not that good, and just real quick. So I thought this card was not going to be that good because it suffers from one of the things that I think a lot of cards who aren't that good have, whereas when you play them, they don't do anything. And that's one of the hardest things I feel like to really have in the game now is characters that when they have to develop before they get to do their cool effect or everything like that. And most cards that are good either can do their effect right when they're there, or they if their opponent takes them out, they get a value from it. So look at Cusco, another card. This card, when played, does his ability. I don't care if it gets Medusa after or whatever because it already got its effect. I don't care if it gets Zeus. It got its effect. I got rid of your item. I got rid of your location. I got rid of it. So being able to just have that, and I can still pay if I have the ink to do it, I can pay and do his ability. This card is always going to be a card that I want to try to play because of that. And versus Camellia, where it's he has to develop to even get his effect to go. That is bad because, when people play Ruby, they can just on reaction. They can go second on reaction, still Medusa him. That's probably the worst thing that he has to deal with. But the Steel players can't easily take him out because he has a 7 toughness, so he can take a Zeus. He can take a Zeus and he has to take a swords, or, he could take a Tink, swords, and not die. And it's oh man, I have to actually adamantly go at this guy and spend my whole turn to pretty much kill him. And that is almost, it's kind of actually worth it. If they spend their whole turn just to remove your card and not have a value, they had to sing with their character on the board and they had to pay hard cast a Zeus or something, it's okay, I'll take that. But just being able to play a character and then you still have your characters on the field that get the quest and stuff, that's really starts to feel really bad. And, worst case scenario, Ruby Sapphire players, ice block, Sisu, stuff like that. It's oh man. So that is an annoying thing, but when he gets to resolve, oh boy, his ability is it. Being able to quest and then choose another character and gain the lore that they have and bounce them back into your hand. That right there is where the deck gets good. You see him going crazy with the mouse right now because he was mad about some of these key bounces. I think if you can allow Camellia to get running, if he gets to go, you kind of start to Usain Bolt walk away from competition because you get to like he's pointing out, you get to then spend your ink on playing a Hades, inking a card that they have on the field, and then bouncing it with Camellia, and now you have another Hades ready to go. In that top deck scenario, if they're okay, I'm going to try to top deck a Maui. It's okay, I get rid of that. Okay, I top decked a Sisu, and Sisu didn't take out Camellia. Okay, I get rid of that. Oh, I'm playing. Whatever. I just get to take it out, put it back in my hand, gain the lore as well. It's safe in my hand. I can ink it if I need to. I was able to do that, ink it, do things like that. It's a good card.
Too lore too. So safe.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We can shift onto the smaller Elsa. Get that, bounce them both back into your hand, then play the rush one, exert something else, and keep it going. There's things that can happen, guys. There's things that can happen that can keep your opponent feeling locked down. And that's what's really good about this. Is also, if you look at my other 6-drop, of course, being able to use Cusco, get rid of item, get it back into your hand, get rid of location, get it back into your hand. There's things that you can just start to control the field a lot easier once Camellia is allowed to do his effect. And then, of course, the more you start to get that value, the more you have the likelihood of drawing into your Madame Mems and things like that to then continue bouncing even post them getting rid of Camellia. So it's I can close the game out regardless here, though. Get my goats out, get my other things out. So, of course, having access to Merlin, the 6-drop Merlin, gets whatever you need to go. I may drop him down to 2 of.
Bounce a goat.
But just being able to shift this onto a rabbit, shift this onto a goat on curve to get your Camellia for turn 6, to get your Elsa that you need to start winning the game, to get your Cusco or Hades to start slowing them down to get even. Hey, you can get a card to draw. You can get a Let It Go to get a Queen's Castle. You can get. Hey, I'm running one Mufasa. If I need it, I can grab that singular Mufasa and have it into my hand. And the ability to have that is where the game gets really good because you can gain a lot more value than your opponent is expecting because you're bouncing shifted targets, like bouncing a Merlin that was shifted. And then it's like, okay, now I can slow it down and play the goat, then shift after, get my piece, bounce, and start getting so much value with my turn that it's like, okay, this guy didn't have that many cards in his hand, but he started bouncing things on the board. And he's getting a lot of value out here. Same thing with the Mufasa and then like being able to bounce him. You do lower yourself on ink, but he's kind of like a pseudo dime play where you just get to bounce to get that 4. And sometimes the thing you're ink well may be what you need. I inked the goat earlier. I got the goat now. And that type of play also does matter. And so I feel like the late game in this deck, if Camilio gets to resolve, which, I'm thinking about ways maybe I can try to use something else to try to protect them. I'm thinking about maybe throwing in the Bell that, comes out and she gives ward, or maybe trying to throw in a Cogsworth line in here or something like that to give him the resist. Just something to see but you really need resist. You probably need the ward. You probably need the ward aspect. So yeah. So
get the ward.
The Sardine Can only works on exertion though.
You don't really need the cog.
And I think the other reward items are in.
You need a way to get this guy.
So,
and I think there's an item that does that too.
You trying to do some cheeky stuff, but yeah, just being able to have these the scry, not scry, the tutor effect with Merlin, and being able to just get exactly what you need, and or you can get honestly, like there was a time where I was just bouncing Merlin. I did it like 2 turns in a row, and I was able to just get pieces to put me a far ahead of my opponent to where it's like, okay, even if you deal with Camilio, I got my exact other things I needed to help close the game out, and so that's very, very good. We already know Elsa really, really good. ETB locks down some things, allows you to kind of just annoy your opponent and do your game plan. You get to lock down these people, bounce with Camilio, lock them down again, bounce with Camilio, lock them down again, and you just keep them locked down for the rest of the game, as well as getting that lore.
So the way you break that, guys, is you hope to God, you hope to your maker that you pull a Madame Medusa on top of the deck, because that's taken so many times like that, or like playing a Bruno, just kind of slow them down a little bit, or like you're welcome to like say, all right, here, man, just take your cards, get this guy out of my face. But inadvertently he could just.
They gotta replay it, and he has to resolve. He has to resolve. So
you have to shuffle first.
It matters. That one turn matters.
They could pull the
if he gets to rolling,
they got to replay it.
It's really hard to
redevelop. That gives you one turn. That gives you one turn to figure it out.
I will acknowledge that. There
also,
were some decks that are trying to run the new Genie as well. I feel like that's a little bit too niche of a combo.
What are you saying?
Just trying to add the new Genie after the Elsa. And have him, if the character's deserted, they can't come back. But it's like, that is kind of a hard thing to really develop. I'm not going to really lie. I found that he really didn't come out. Just try to actually get this out is much worth than just. It's like you'd rather just use other characters and do other things and to invest in this. Yeah, and then it's like I'd rather just play Elsa again and keep them exerted for 2 turns and gain 3 lore back instead of 2 lore back. And it's like they still gets Maui. It's a lot of still gets Zeus. So it's like shrug. It really doesn't do as much as you think it does. It's just but it's like, what if your opponent's running wide? If they're running wide and you are trying to stop them at 8 ink, you're probably not gonna win that game. But So that card, I don't know. I see why people try to put it in, but no. One jump ahead, like I said, good for Tipo.
But yeah, it's
How Far Go, really good for the Merlins and the Mims. And of course, bigger things can always still do it and use it to get your plays going, but on the curve, those are the good things that you want to use it for. From the other side, Madam and Fox can sing that. Honestly, hardcasting it, don't really feel that bad, but obviously you want to sing it. Let It Go. You need that just to really survive. Not gonna lie, you need it to survive. Not that many 5 drops in this deck, so you more often will not have to like hard cast it. You can't.
I don't know.
More often than not, you'll have to probably hard cast it, but more often than not, you probably have to hard cast it. More often than not, you're probably all right, man. Then of course, Fishbone Coil. You know what Fishbone Coil is here for. And then Queen's Castle again. You know what that is. So you know the rest.
Anyway, it keeps yapping. All right, but yeah.
Oh yeah, the reason I ain't running that many Mufasas, you don't want to bounce that guy that much.
I mean, you're already the rest of the decks, but
it's like, hey man, I kind of
that's pretty much the.
I kind of want that
long and the short of it.
Yeah. We'll talk about
Max,
this guy.
you can do probably two, and that's actually like across the thing. Once we get to our next video, maybe a couple videos.
At least in this iteration, but probably in most.
Yeah, Mufasa, scary at first, but TLDR can't really run more than 2 copies of them. So we only have 1 copy of them anyway, so not really worried about it. But it's $27.
At least in this iteration, I can always take the Camillio line out and go for a different type of route. But this is the route that I was first, I forgot the guy's deck, who it was that I seen, and I was like, it was actually pretty interesting, and we gave it a shot. And actually, when it gets going, it's pretty solid. You have bounce across the board, you have ways to ink, you have ways to draw, you have ways to slow your opponent down. It's more of a slow your opponent down and win the game more than the control your opponent out. But that's kind of what you want to do with these colors. Just try to say, hey, hold on, I know, freeze, and then just get your lure and keep them down. But
it was so trash. It was so trash. I gave up on it after like 1 game. It was so bad. And I was like, I was hurting my head trying to like figure this out, but yeah, Clarabelle definitely was there. She's good. Yeah, it's just like you have to play. You're always gonna be on the back foot, but this is a color combination. So just these Clarabelles just let you do that, let you stay on the back foot, and let you play from that point. You never feel like you don't have a way back into the game, especially if you've been adequately controlling them. So that's the TLDR of this build. Cloudy went into a little bit more depth in this one. I think that's okay. We're gonna try to get some playtests out. We're still playing around with how we're gonna record these. It used to be really easy with Pixelborn. Now it's very hard. We'll get into that discussion another time. But just let us know how y'all are feeling about this current set.
Tell me how many Bucky players you still see.
Let us know if you guys went to the challenge.
This is the last time I get to play the card.
I think it was Toronto. I just think it's Toronto. And I probably come all the time.
We don't like that. I'll just let you know. We don't like that.
Yeah, they're not really listening to the errata, unfortunately. So, but yeah, this is whatever. Whatever. So yeah, but that's basically what's going on right now. Again, let us know what you guys are playing. Let us know if you would make any updates. I'm trying to fit in an Ana in this build, trying to fit in maybe some sudden chills in this build to kind of help with that like early game, maybe like 2 sudden chills, 3 maybe. But like definitely trying to fit Ana in, but got to figure out that unequable situation. Don't want to cut any prepared. So it'd probably be around like the Shisu, maybe one of these Diablos, because it's kind of hit or miss at this point in this deck. So I don't know. Let me know you guys' thoughts.
All right. See ya.
And your feelings. And yeah, for sure. We'll definitely see you guys in the next video. Hope you have a great one.